my proud privilege and honor to welcome you all to the 5th edition of the Global Agri Connect 2016 on the theme Technologies and Innovations in Agriculture, Mechanization, Precision and Communication, Pillars of Agriculture Growth. Many of you have been partnering with us in making Global Agri Connect successful and achieve its objectives. National Skills Foundation of India, NSFI, is a not-for-profit organization focused on building skills and developing entrepreneurship for India's large but relatively unskilled and semi-skilled workforce towards enhancing their livelihoods and incomes. NSFI is realizing its mission through large-scale interventions across the nation through providing them access to growth sectors and to various factors of production and revenue generation. NSFI is partnering with ministries and government departments, private sector universities, multilateral agencies, and statutory bodies to achieve its mission. Once again, on behalf of Team NSFI, I welcome one and all to this conference and request your active participation so that we can all together catalyze growth in agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the proud privilege in inviting and requesting our dignitaries, Mr. Siraj Chaudhary, Chairman, Cargill, India, Dr. H.S. Gupta, Burlog Institute of South Asia, Mr. Nitin Puri, Senior President and Country Head, Food and Agri, Strategic Advisory and Research, Yes Bank, Mr. Sanjeev Asthana, Chairman NSFI, and Dr. Sai Krishna, CEO NSFI, to kindly do the honors of lighting the ceremonial lamp and formally inaugurating this conference. And ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as Global Agri Connect 2016 is being formally inaugurated. Lighting the lamp. As we all know, the diya when lit emits light and derives energy. It is this very life force which sustains us. Each wick being passed from one to another symbolizes the sharing of knowledge. And each wick being lit today is a prayer for global peace and solidarity. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen, for doing the honors. May I request you all to kindly join us on the dais for the inaugural session. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our dignitaries on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, to sensitize the farmers and other stakeholders of Indian agriculture on various emerging areas. Global Agri Connect 2011 Conference cum Agri exhibition were organized with the theme of transformational changes in Indian agriculture the next decade. And Global Agri Connect 2012 Conference cum Agri exhibition with the theme of high value agriculture, a gateway to farm prosperity, and the third edition on the theme of evolving skill dimensions, the lever of agriculture growth. Starting from the year 2011, the theme Technologies and Innovation in Agriculture formed the continuing thread across the events with specific sub-theme being covered each year. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I request Mr. Sanjeev Asthana to kindly do the honors of welcoming our distinguished dignitaries on the dais with floral bouquets. May I request Swati to kindly get the floral bouquets on the stage. We welcome Mr. Siraj Chaudhary, Chairman Cargill, India. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for sparing your most valuable time in gracing this occasion. We welcome Dr. H.S. Gupta, Burlog Institute for South Asia. Thank you very much indeed, sir. We welcome Mr. Nitin Puri, Senior President, Country Head, Food and Agri, Strategic Advisory and Research, Yes Bank. Thank you very much indeed for gracing this occasion. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I invite Mr. Sanjeev Asthana, Chairman NSFI, to kindly propose the formal welcome address.
Good morning to very eminent set of friends we have on the stage. All the eminent people who've attended, who have come for this conference, the Global Agri Connect, from various institutions, especially the ones, the good spread what we have this year, and what we decided to make a big change was that we would have people who are the actual practitioners, and avoid, in terms of a lot of talk which goes on in terms of purely focusing on the policy side or looking at entirely on, discussions which are more directional in nature, but really listen and talk to practitioners, and which automatically meant that we would be less focused in terms of what the government can do and focus a lot more in terms of what the private sector, what the farmer producer organizations, what the research institutions, the academia, the actual practitioners and the corporates, what they're doing on the ground, including the multilateral and bilateral agencies who are going to be attending this conference today. We have an extremely good blend of the institutional structure, what we spoke about. We have almost nearly 250 people who will be coming through the day and participating in the conference, but really focused on the real issues which are impacting the agriculture and how it is going to have a far-reaching, how it is going to address the far-reaching changes as the agriculture is starting to witness, and how it is going to move forward. We had we wanted to hear Mr. Ramesh Chand today from Niti Aayog. He just got back from the US and Mexico, and we'd invited him to specifically listen to him because Niti Aayog is doing some really path-breaking work, but he's unwell, and extremely unwell right now, in fact. He just got back from US and Mexico, and then he had a series of challenges on the health front. So we would not, but I'm sure that at some occasion we'll find to hear him and listen to his views. So without taking much time, let me address a set of issues what I feel are important, which are impacting the agriculture, but really focused on the theme of technology and innovations which are taking place. So one is, if we look at the whole narrative around agriculture, if we look at around the narrative around the producers and the entire spectrum of agriculture space, it has always been around challenges and problems, that they're poor, the yields are poor, we don't have supply chain, we don't have infrastructure, we have massive challenges. That narrative, what we are noticing now over a period of time, is undergoing a significant shift, and there's a lot of change which is happening and which is bringing in. And one of the clarion calls which was given recently by a Prime Minister of really doubling the farmer's income. And then we started to think as to really what impact it would have. Would it mean only regulatory changes? Would it be only the policy intervention? Would this focus around exactly the more subsidies and more support? Will it be around the market interventions on providing larger levels of participation by the government? Or is it something else? And the more we see, we realize that the key part is, of course, besides all other elements are important and they will play a critical role, but really the technology can be a game changer in the way things are addressed towards both increasing yield, bringing in the efficiencies, reducing the food wastage, increasing the farm income, making sure that it's a greater inclusive participation both of the entire spectrum of players, and not just producers alone, but all the prosperity what sets in will have a big impact in the way the fortunes of agriculture will get defined over a period of time, and that is going to have a significant change. The second part which is making a big change is really the innovations around agriculture on the entire value chain. So whether it's on the production side, so during the day we'll hear interesting models on innovation, right from leasing of farm mechanization equipment to looking at newer supply chain models, to hearing about models on e-commerce which are facilitating a very efficient farm produce delivery to the consumers, and larger pie of the share of the consumer pocket, the money which is going to the producers. We will hear about the innovations and changes as they are having a big impact in the way agriculture is conducted, and I think there is a significant change as it is going forward. on the business of agriculture, and just so that the whole narrative, the entire paradigm around how the agriculture growth has to happen must undergo a change, and that is the kind of narrative, or the entire discourse around agriculture is what we'd like to hear. So we are seeing obviously a lot of emergence of several new models which are starting to impact, right from supply chain companies to knowledge platforms, and where several sort of companies are making a big change, to dissemination of information to both the both the farmers and the stakeholders. Looking at the grocery online retail, what I spoke about, farm input retailing, from a very traditional construct of how the farm inputs were retailed, to looking at newer ways of through technology making it efficient, how the farmers can order and bringing the cost of delivery down. Quality enhancements in foods, the research on the material sciences and ICTs, hydroponics. So there is a massive change which is going on in the country and across the world. And India, I would still say, still needs to do a lot of catch up. So I just got back from a very extended trip overseas. And so obviously, while it was of a different nature altogether, but I can't keep away from these things. And you realize the enormous strides countries have made in bringing in those efficiencies, changing the regulatory structures in the way these things move, and how they've had a big far-reaching impact on the entire change. And this has had a very salutary impact on the fortunes of both the producers and the industry as such. The second part of big research is change which is happening is on the sciences. And sciences themselves are having a big impact in the way the farm incomes are moving up, the way the newer models are emerging, and how to improve the productivity, how to have the longer shelf life, for the produce, the handling structures, which are coming in, with the very core research on the handling infrastructure. That itself is having a very far-reaching impact in the way, the business of agriculture gets conducted and is moving forward. So we are really happy, and that this day-long deliberation with the real practitioners, with real stakeholders and people, including donor organizations. A lot of foundations are here, and we are really pleased that we were able to interest them to participate in this, because they themselves are looking at newer ways of participating, which can have a larger impact on the bigger bang for the buck, and how the money is well spent, and how it can have a change in the entire system. So with this, I would like to conclude the day's my welcome remarks, and I really look forward to a very exciting day of discussion, and with practitioners, and so that we can take something back home. And post this conference, I believe that very soon we will come out with the knowledge report as well, in terms of how things are, what the general sharing of ideas and knowledge has been, and how it will have a longer term sort of, if there are policy recommendations for the government, is what is there for the other stakeholders as to what they bring to the system, is what we'll have. So with this, I welcome everyone once again, and looking forward to a very positive and fruitful day of discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have the proud privilege in inviting Mr. Nitin Puri, who is Senior President and Country Head, Food and Agri Strategic Advisory and Research, Yes Bank. Mr. Nitin Puri would speak on NSFI and Yes Bank Knowledge Report of GAC 2016. So please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Nitin Puri for his address.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Asthana, Mr. Chaudhary, Dr. Gupta, Mr. Krishna, and all the eminent guests seated in the audience today. While we do have a knowledge report which we've put together on showcasing some of the key innovations in the agri supply chain, and that's there for everybody to see, I would like to just touch upon the entire context of innovation in the next few minutes. I think Indian agriculture and agribusiness in some ways has come a long way from a situation where we were net importers of agri-produce to today, a time when perhaps agriculture is one of those sectors where we are a net exporter. We export more than what we import. We produce more than what we consume on an aggregate basis. So that, I think, over the last 70 years plus has indeed been a big achievement for us, whether it's dairy, whether it's grains, whether it's a couple of other agricultural commodities, including fruits and vegetables, where again we are amongst the top 3. So numbers, yes, 270 million tons of fruits and vegetables, 250 million tons of grains, 155 million tons of milk. We indeed have come a long way. But I think where we've been left behind in this entire race is on 2 fronts. One is on efficiency and the other is on competitiveness globally. So look at a simple statistic like more than half the country's working population contributing only 1/6 to the GDP.